Happy Father's Day, Heat fans. Hopefully it's all going good for you and your family this weekend. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I'm Nic Rohloff. And on today's show, we are going to look at 10 free agents that I think Pat Riley and the Miami Heat may look to sign when free agency opens in exactly 2 weeks. Yes, you heard that correctly. For some reason, the NBA wanted to open up free agency at like 5 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday afternoon on June 30th. Beats me, but Adam Silver ruined the NBA. Before we get to the top 10 guys I think the Heat could go after, we're struggling. Race to 100 subs. Knicks now has a commanding lead. They're only 9 away. We're 23. Help me out, Heat fans. If you want to stay locked in with everything surrounding the Miami Heat, this is the channel for you. But also, let's beat the Knicks. Hit that sub button. All right, before we get into the 10 free agents, I do think it's important to note where the Heat are in terms of the luxury tax because that's all that matters. As things currently stand when we are filming this prior to NBA free agency, the Heat are $4.6 million under the second apron of that luxury tax. We have talked in depth on the channel about how the luxury tax, specifically the second apron, can really limit you in the ways you can make trades and draft and really improve the roster. So the Heat, unless they acquire an All-NBA or All-Star guy via trade, are likely going to try to stay under that second apron. So the guys that I have mentioned are kind of people that I think are going to sign for $6 million or less, to where the Heat might be able to cut a contract and sign them. But either way, they don't have to worry about crossing that second apron. Number 1, the Heat free agent target, Obi Toppin, the forward formerly of the New York Knicks and then was with the Indiana Pacers last season. I would be willing to guess he gets more than the second apron or the money that we are to the second apron. He probably gets the mid-level in that range. But there is a chance he gets a little bit of a cheaper option. Let's say he wants to play for a contending team, a team like Miami, who has had good experience developing people in the past, and says, hey, I'll sign a one-year deal with Miami. Play as their 6th, 7th guy, or maybe even start at power forward, depending on what the Heat do via trade and in the draft. And maybe I can improve my stock to where I can cash in on a 3-year deal after one season in Miami. Toppin's a good fit. He can run the floor, dunk, play the dunker spot well. He's really just an elevated version of Haywood Highsmith offensively, but is not as good as Haywood defensively. And that's kind of where I think Obi Toppin could sign with the Miami Heat. 1-year deal to improve his stock. It's a team option for the Indiana Pacers if they opt to let him hit free agency and don't hit that restricted free agent button where they can re-sign him and match any contract. Miami could be a good spot for 1 year. It's unlikely that he comes to Miami because he'll probably be too pricey, but he's a good fit. Shot 40% from 3 this past season for the Pacers. Heat would like his size, his athleticism, and transition. He can defend a little bit as well. Great fit for the Miami Heat. Might just be a little too pricey, and I don't even think Indiana lets him get out of the Pacers building. Number 2, Russell Westbrook, the guard. That has had quite the career, obviously on the downside of his career, but puts up decent raw numbers for the Clippers as a bench guard for them. 11 points a game, 5 boards, 4.5 assists. The efficiency is always the issue, right? And when he was at his best, his efficiency wasn't even that good, but he was able to make by because he was so athletic and he just filled the stat sheet with boards and assists. But at this point in his career, do you trust him being able to score because of how bad he is from 3? Like, he can't space the floor. Teams just sag off of him, and the Heat already struggle with 3-point shooting at times. But the reason why I wanted to mention him, and I don't even think he is a target for Miami, but according to Bovada, the sports book, the Heat are the favorites to sign Russell Westbrook. I don't know why, but they are. Now, you could convince me on the absolute vet min to bring him in to run your second unit, but I gotta be honest, I think I'd almost rather have DeLon Wright. Like, is Russell Westbrook better? Yes, but DeLon Wright is better defensively at this point. Russ is better at everything offensively, probably even including 3-point shots because just the volume that Russ takes him at. But he would be less of a headache, and I like DeLon Wright's fit, and I believe he might be someone Miami could look after. I probably should have mentioned this, by the way, but the 10 free agents we're talking about, they're not including Caleb Martin or Haywood Highsmith or their own guys. These are all people who played on different teams last season. Taurean Prince is another name that I think is very intriguing. I like Taurean Prince's game quite a bit. I have a running joke with myself that every time I watch him play basketball, he goes like 5 of 7 from 3. Like, I swear, for some reason, whenever I watch him play, he never misses. I know a lot of Los Angeles Lakers fans were hating on Prince last season for his ability to score, make some bad plays, but he wasn't paid a lot of money last year by Los Angeles. I don't think his price and stock went up, so he is someone that I think the Heat could sign on a 1-year, $4 million, $5 million deal. I'd love for him to be a bench piece for Miami that can be a 3-and-D wing. He can give you 9 points. He can hit a couple threes a ball game. I don't think his price tag's that high, and for that reason, I think Prince is a legit option for the Heat if they lose Caleb Martin and Haywood Highsmith in free agency. Still got 7 names to get to on today's list, but who is your top free agent target for the Miami Heat? Not a lot of money to spend, so can't really go out and say OG Anunoby or something like that. Got to have to stay within our budget. You know who's someone, a good friend of ours, who could be in the budget? How about Precious Achiuwa? Yes, you heard that correctly. The infamous pick that Miami made one slot before Tyrese Maxey in the 2020 NBA draft. But Achiuwa's been around the block, man. He was in that Kyle Lowry sign and trade to Toronto, then was traded this past season to the Knicks. Was okay for New York, durable, played in 74 games. He just has never reached his potential, and he still slots in as a 4. Has a little bit of a corner 3 ball, but not really anything that you can write home about. But could Achiuwa fulfill the prophecy and come back to Miami and be the backup center that Pat Riley thought he was drafting? He was getting paid about $8 million this past season. I was talking with Marshall Green, the host of Knicks Now. I was like, do you think they bring him back? And he's like, well, they have their bird rights, so they could match anything and bring him back if they wanted to. And I was like, do you think he gets paid more than $7-8 million? And he's just like, probably not. So if Achiuwa's only out there getting a $5 million deal over 2 seasons, over 1 year, I think I would bring Achiuwa back. The Heat needs size, and sure, is he a traditional center? No, but he gives you high energy. And I'd like to see if Achiuwa can come back to the 305 and atone for the struggling season he had as a rookie. Another big man that is intriguing to me, Mason Plumlee, who played for the Los Angeles Clippers a season ago. He's got good size to him, man. And one part about Mason Plumlee that's super underrated, he's actually a pretty good passer. Only averaged 1.1 assists a game, but he is very versatile in that department. Ivica Zubac and him were the 2 centers for the Clippers a year ago. Solid free throw shooter, even though he has that weird free throw form, shot solid, good size, not the most athletic guy, won't space the floor, can't play him alongside Bam, but I do think he would be an upgrade over Thomas Bryant. So Mason Plumlee on a $3-4 million deal for 1 season, you could count me in as being open to that. 5 more targets we got to get to, but the NBA draft is in just a week and a half. These are the hats that the NBA draft picks for Miami are going to wear at 15 and 43. Get yours today. Multiple options, curve, flat brim, snapback. We have them all. Chatsports.com/HeatDraftHats is the link. I'll put it in the description and comments for you. If you want to rep whoever the Heat draft pick takes, wear the hat, you can. One more time, chatsports.com/HeatDraftHats. I actually like the tan and black combo. I saw some mixed results. I'm a fan. Someone that we have talked about previously on the channel, Dennis Smith Jr., the point guard who played for the Brooklyn Nets a season ago. And yeah, the offense still is never going to be pretty for DSJ, but he is one of the better point-of-attack defenders that the NBA has. He's long, good wingspan, incredible athlete with extremely good bunnies, transition monster, and really just never got it going for Brooklyn last season. I thought he could have been someone the Heat traded for at the deadline if they really wanted to grab a cheap point-of-attack defender. They didn't do it, obviously, but I've been very open, and you can go back to the channel before the trade deadline in February. You can go back to the offseason when I said if the Heat trade for Damian Lillard, the number 1 guy I want to be his backup on the vet min was Dennis Smith Jr. Could Pat Riley spin the block? If they don't want to bring back DeLon Wright, Josh Richardson possibly opts out. I don't know. There's many scenarios where this Heat roster needs a backup guard and a backup athlete who can defend on the perimeter. I think Dennis Smith Jr. is someone that we should keep our eyes on. Another Brooklyn net, Lonnie Walker. My guy Austin Chef Trilly will like this one. He could just flat out score the basketball. I mean, there's just no way around it. That's his goal. Used to play, obviously, in Miami when he was at the college level for the Hurricanes. Average 10 a game. Little bit of a disappointing season for him in Brooklyn. I think myself, and a couple other people out there believed he would have a larger role for the Nets offensively as they needed some perimeter scoring. I think it was mostly gathered and eaten up by Cam Thomas, but he's someone that can be your 7th, 8th man off the bench from the perimeter. Be an athletic guy. That's just a change of pace. He will put pressure on the rim. He will have fear in opposing centers' eyes, considering when he drives towards the cup, there is a chance that you're going to be put on a poster. He can also shoot the rock as well. I think you get him in this Heat culture, in this system, I think his efficiency would go up. The athleticism and length is there to be an average defender as well. He can be a weapon for Miami off the bench and possibly a Caleb Martin replacement. Same size almost, but Martin obviously can play the 4. Lonnie can't, but Caleb should have also never been playing the 4 either. Jae Crowder, another familiar name on the list, and I think he might be cooked, folks. But I did want to mention him because he would absolutely be extremely cheap for Miami to grab. I mean, that trade from him going to Phoenix to Milwaukee just never panned out for the Bucks. Why would they send, I think, 5 second-round picks to the Suns for Jae Crowder? And he just never showed up, man. And I think just because of his age and, listen, growth, and when you're that old, it's going to hit you, unfortunately. He just isn't the defender he used to be. But like I mentioned with some of these guys, like, he can be a super cheap vet-min option. You sign, he's your 7th, 8th guy, be the Haywood Highsmith from this season where you could put him on the wing, trust that he's going to play smartly. He knows the system. He knows Spo. He knows Pat Riley. He knows Jimmy. He knows Bam. And if he's able to increase his three-point shot and shoot closer to 37, 38% for the Heat next season, if he were to sign a deal, then it would be absolutely worth having him as your 7th or 8th guy off the bench and one of your top wing 3-and-D guys. Would you bring him back? I mean, it was disappointing when Jay left Miami in free agency to sign with Phoenix after they made that run to the NBA Finals. Let me know. Would you bring him back? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Another intriguing name that I would be willing to take a flyer on, Cam Reddish, the forward, who I just don't know why he's never been able to pan out in the NBA. Like, the raw tools are there. I don't know if it's up here, if it's his work ethic. I don't know what it is, but the athleticism, the talent is there. And Reddish has a $2.5 million player option for this upcoming year. He did not get a lot of run in Los Angeles. He expected to get some PT for the Lakers. He just never did, man. 48 games played, never really got his feet under him, shot poorly from the field, didn't really shoot well from 3 either. I could absolutely see him opting out if he got word that a team could give him a larger role, like, even if it's like $1 million cheaper. Like, I don't know what the vet min would be for Reddish, but I think he would exchange $1 million to try to get playing time on a team. And the Heat, who are poised to lose a lot of free agents off their bench, like if they do lose Caleb and Haywood, Reddish could be a key rotation member at that wing position. And he also knows, well, the Heat system and staff, they develop people at a really good rate. I'll opt out of $2.5 million, sign for the vet min in Miami, and then maybe get my stock up and cash in a couple of years in free agency as well. I think Reddish is someone who I would be intrigued in bringing in to see if he's got anything to offer the Miami Heat. Last guy I want to mention, another center, Luke Kornet. And you might say to yourself, Luke Kornet, are we serious? But I'm absolutely intrigued by him being a potential cheap option for Miami at that backup center position. We struggled, man. Dwayne Dedmon, Myers Leonard, Kelly Olynyk, Cody Zeller, Thomas Bryant. We just never had a backup center that's been able to do anything good for Miami. I think Kornet can be that. He's actually pretty long, and sure, the athleticism isn't there and he doesn't have a lot of offense, but I just need someone to gobble up rebounds and not be the worst defensive big in the NBA. Kornet in limited PT averages 1.1 blocks a game. I'll take that. He's physical. He's competitive. He wants to win. He'll give it his all. He can finish around the rim in pick and roll situations. And the most unbelievable thing of all time, by the way, when I was looking up stats and doing some stuff about these guys on background stuff, how about this? He's one of the best free throw shooting bigs in the entire NBA. Yes, you heard that correctly. 90.7% from the line, and this ain't no 15 attempts. He shot 52 attempts and shot 90%. And what did he do the year prior? He shot 34 attempts, but shot 84%. He just is good at the free throw line, so there's no concern of him struggling if he gets to that charity stripe. I think Kornet could be a super, super cheap option, and if he leaves Boston, I would try to scoop him up relatively early in free agency, saying, Kornet, we'll promise you the true backup center role if you sign with us right away. I'd be in, man. I really would give that guarantee. Make sure you do follow me over on Twitter because we are going to have more Heat news and rumors surrounding free agency over there. Anything that leaks out, we'll have it on my Twitter. And when they do sign people during free agency and we get news on Martin, Jimmy, Haywood Highsmith, DeLon Wright, and others, my Twitter will get the news first, and then we'll come make a video. So if you want to be the most informed Heat fan on the planet, follow me at Nic_Rohloff.